So one of the things that separates Willey Company from the rest of the companies is the attention we put into every job. And that starts from the day you call us, but it continues right on through the waiting period when you don't even know that we're paying attention to your job. And that's before the construction. So the minute you sign the contract with Willey Company, your job goes on our schedule. And when your job goes on our schedule, that's when the folder goes in a rotation for me. And as the owner of the company, I pay a lot of attention to every single job, and that's prior to construction, during construction, and even after construction. But what I'm going to show you today is the attention I put into every job prior to construction. And this is how we're saving people time, problems, and money. I spend a lot of time riding around looking at every job that we have on our schedule, and that's prior to construction. And the reason I do that is because I can catch a lot of problems prior to them becoming a problem for our client. And if I can catch them prior to them becoming a problem, or in the early stages of them being a problem, I can save our client the headache of having that problem. And that is a tremendous asset we offer our clients. A lot of times we're solving problems for our clients and they don't even realize it. And I do that by visiting every job that we have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times sometimes prior to installation, prior to us going out and actually doing any work in the field. And I'm going to give you a little example about what I'm looking for when I go out onto a job. So as you can see, there's not a whole lot to see on this property. But what I can see are these stakes right here. And I can see that we have 2 stakes here, and down there we have 2 more stakes. And this is the proposed location for where a home's gonna go. I can compare that location to where the location is on the paperwork that I have. And that'll tell me whether we're gonna have a conflict with the septic system, well, or any other issues. Next thing is I can check the property lines. Make sure that the property lines seem to match what we have on paper and on our surveys and any other documentation that we have. Here we can see that they have a driveway proposed. Make sure that the driveway matches what we have on the paperwork. See if there's any conflicts. Make sure it's not in the area of where the proposed septic's gonna go. We need to make sure the topography of the lot isn't gonna present a problem for the septic when it's compared to the house location. Then we can look for any strange items that we don't know what they are. Items that might not be on the plan, items that we may need to address prior to getting started with the home being out here. This is the perfect time to address unexpected items prior to anything actually happening on site. So on this job, what we're looking for is to make sure that during the construction of the house that there's not been any construction traffic over top of the septic area, that there's not been any dirt piled on the septic area, and that there's not been anything placed on top of the septic area and or the well area. And since we've been following this job since before the house started, we know that the house is in the right location, and we know that we have room for everything. We know that there's no neighbors to the left. We know that the neighbor to the right doesn't have any conflict issues with location. And we know that we're not gonna have any problems. So after the house is started like this, that's what we're looking for. We're looking to make sure that there's no construction damage to the septic area. Okay, so this is a construction site that we have a job to do. And we're doing a septic and a well here. And what you can see is that we've got a foundation. Now this job's moving pretty slow because this foundation has been here and nothing's happened since the last update, which was about 2 weeks ago. And so what we're looking for on a job like this is is we're looking for how fast the house is moving along so we can adjust our schedule automatically. That way the builder doesn't have to be bothered with phone calls from us. We also keep track of the conditions of the ground. And we're going to get the septic area flagged out or roped off. So this is a replacement job that we have. And on inspections on replacement jobs, we don't have to worry about the status of the house unless it's a sale, like a home that's going to a real estate transaction. Then we need to worry about the sale date or the transaction date sometimes, unless it's going to be put in escrow. But we have a lot of other things to worry about. Like in this case, we have this driveway. The septic goes in the backyard. We're not going to be able to get our equipment and trucks into the backyard through the driveway. Concrete driveways get destroyed by heavy equipment. So one of the first problems we have is access. On this job, on this replacement, what we had to do is find an alternative way to access the backyard. Over here we have a neighbor that has a driveway. And what we've done is we've asked this neighbor to use his driveway to access our client's backyard, and he's given us permission. Another thing that we have on all jobs that we have to pay a lot of attention to is making sure our misutility marks are done so that we don't have any conflicts with utilities. Back here where the septic system goes, one of the big things about replacements is obstacles in the yard. And you can see the septic goes basically right in front of us where I'm showing you. And what we have is some landscape issues, as you see the bench and some garden stuff, and we need to make sure that our client is completely aware of what the backyard's going to look like and getting things out of the backyard that they don't want destroyed. Because when we come back here to dig up the entire backyard, obviously the garden and all that stuff is going to get destroyed. Another thing we look for are the stumps, trees, and in this case we did have several trees that were in the way. You can see that we put flags out identifying where the septic system was going to go. And we had trees that were in the septic area. So we had the client have a tree clearing guy come in and cut the trees down. So on this new home construction site, and this happens a lot on new home construction sites, the septic area was flagged off, and what has happened is the dumpster's been put in the septic area. It's not a big deal as far as any compaction or anything, but what it is an obstacle that we need to get moved prior to the septic going in. We also want to get it off of the drain field area so that we don't have a truck backing in and off the septic area. It's one of the issues that we can address by doing site visits so often. And then what we'll do is we'll get it moved, and then we'll reflag that septic area to try to keep people off of it. Another thing we can catch by doing site visits on new construction is the sewer location. Oftentimes a plumber will locate the sewer, bring the sewer through the wall in the wrong location. By doing site visits, we can catch it ahead of time, and if we need to, we can get it redone, or we can take whatever measures are necessary to address it. And one of the biggest things, like I said earlier, on new construction is gauging the status of the house and adjusting our schedule. On this one, we're in the mechanical stage, so we're about 3 to 4 weeks away from installing. Now what you're going to see here is this is the access we're going to have down the side of the house to get onto the property, to get into the backyard, to drill the well. And what we have are a couple piles of dirt that are in the way. So with this, what we're going to have to do is get in touch with the builder to make sure that these are going to be moved when it comes time to drill the well. I'm sure that they are, but it's something that we're going to have to make some communication with to make sure that they are, so they don't pose a problem the day we're here. So what I do with all the information that I gather from the site visits is I enter it into my iPad, and we have a custom built piece of software on the iPad that then takes all that information and it sends it back to my office staff through email. And what my office staff does is they take all that information, enter it into the computer system, and it records it onto each job's file on our server. And then they also take whatever appropriate actions necessary. And it's just a really, really efficient way to streamline any necessary actions that need to happen. We believe in putting that extra time and effort into our clients' sites because they deserve it. And that is the way that we're going to save them time, problems, and money. No matter whether it's new construction or replacement, if if we're going to catch a placement problem with a new home and it's going to conflict with a septic area and it needs to be moved, or there's trees in the way and they need to be taken down, or there's a dumpster in the way of the septic system, or somebody's piled some dirt on top of the septic and maybe we need to get a site evaluator out there to test for compaction to make sure the septic area is still okay, or whatever the issue is, the sooner we know about it, because other people may not have any idea that whatever's going on may be a problem, but we do. So we need to get our professional eyes on it, and that way we can prevent the problem from being a problem if possible. And if there's a problem that we can't get around, we can address it as soon as possible. And that's going to save time, saving our clients the time, saving them the problems, and ultimately that all leads to saving them the money. That's what we believe in at Willey Co, and that's what we're all about. And these site visits are a drastic part of that, and it's something our company does that no one else puts this kind of time and effort into. So thank you for watching the video. We greatly appreciate your time and interest in the video. Please give us a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe to the channel for more similar videos. We'll see you next time.